Okay, so we are here in Unreal Engine. This is our blank project that we created before, and we need to start bringing assets over. We already exported from Maya the files of the geometry files from my creature and my prop, my robot, and I need to also bring over my my textures. So I have from my substance exporting, I got all my folder with all the different base color, normal, occlusion, roughness, metallics, base color for all the different parts of my robot. And I also have under my assets here textures for my dinosaur, which were the texture that I created in ZBrush. This is the color version, the ambient occlusion, and the displacement, and normals that I created in ZBrush. I have another displacement there that I had two different versions of it. And I have one normal map using a world UV map that came from this the way of doing it in from ZBrush. Both can be used to give the effect. So we're gonna copy those over. Let me start grabbing this dino textures. I'm gonna grab the whole folder. I'm gonna copy it to the Unreal import project. You see the same project where I created my folder where I imported my geometry. I'm gonna paste those there. It'll take just not too long. Okay. And I'm going to also go to grab my substance uh, textures. So it takes a few moments. I'm copying over the network, but hopefully will be there in a few seconds. Okay, I just finished copying. And it's important that when we do it from Maya, create an import folder. That way, that import folder won't be touched because once the parts are added to the uh, Unreal project, they kind of tend to disappear because they become part of the content, and then they are kind of codified under the Unreal system. So we make sure this import file is there, this import folder. That way, your assets are untouched. So here I have in Unreal, your interface might not look like this, but in essence, we have a viewport where we see our world, and of course, our world allows us to look at the different. I'm kind of zooming out a little bit. So the blank project gives you this kind of like a landscape that you can look at. Here on the side is all of the different patches of the whole landscape, and you can just minimize that. Let's see if I can just minimize it there. My mouse is kind of acting weird. So, and all the different parts of the landscape, I can just minimize and hide or not, so I can have it there. There you go. Mouse is not letting me minimize that list. You have lighting and you have a player start and so on and so forth. Okay, this is kind of our outliner where we see the list of objects in this world, in this game world. On the lower part, we have the content browser. And the content browser is the place where you can try using for your storing force assets. The assets that are in the content browser are not in the game. It's kind of like a repository. When you put them here are used yet. This is the way for you to set them up. So right now I have under content, there is nothing here that I can show off. My project is blank. So I'm going to import my objects. So I'm going to say import and hopefully that'll launch the import window. And I'm going to the import files get added to your content folder. In this case, I'm going to import the two models from my Dino post and my robot post. I'm going to just import those. And it's going to ask me if I want to create a collision with them. I'm going to say yes, although we're not going to do anything with them yet, but convert the scene, yes. Normally, don't change anything. If I had an animation, I would probably bring the skeletal mesh as part of it, and a bit more information about the animation that will be imported with it. But we don't have animation here. We're going to say just import all, and they all come hopefully added to our project here in a second. Okay, a pop-up message log says no smoothing grouping wasn't found. Those VXs were exported out with supposedly smooth, but not necessarily ran out of saving packages, which is something that the software does in the beginning when you open a project that was created on a different computer. It just needs to go through this process. So just let it crank there for a few moments. Okay, that's finished. This message, I'm not going to, this new smoothing group, I'm not going to feel too worried about it. And you see here in my content window, now all came in, my assets came in there, my robot and my dinosaur. And of course, the naming that I gave him in each one of those Lamberts came. So that's going to make it a lot more efficient. I'm going to start being organized here because I think that we need to ensure that it's not only, of course this is not going to be the only asset we're going to have here. We're going to try to create here, right clicking, I'm going to create a new folder. Here is when I'm going to just start organizing. When I say Gomez, the squirrel, uh, which is what is going to be exported out. So I'm going to select everything there and just move it to that folder. Move here, not copy, but move. So everything just take a few seconds for it to be moved. All right, everything went into that folder, which is great. And we want that organization because what is going to happen is that that folder is what's going to go to our project, to our group projects. We're going to be organized with that. I'm going to put inside of this folder, I'm going to import all my textures. So I'm going to say import. You can create actually a folder for textures to make it easier for yourself. Actually, let's do that way. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this one Dino. Open up that up, and then I'm going to import the Dino textures import folder on my project. So that takes a few seconds for them to be recognized. I got a little message, Dino texture normal map was imported as a normal map. I say okay, and they all came right here. Let me do the same thing for let me go one level up. I'm gonna create a folder for my robot. In your case, will be your prop, right? So robot textures. Of course, are the texture that came from Substance. So it just takes a few moments because I have several files coming in there. And I start giving that same message of the normal map and I say okay to all of them. It'll take a little of a time for you to get them to say okay, but eventually you get them all okayed. All right, so we see all our textures showed up there. We're gonna start working on our dino first. So it's a little bit easier. Our dino textures show, I'm sorry, dino textures show the body displacement. Actually, I brought two displacements, so let me get rid of one of them. I don't need, I'm trying to figure out which one is the one that I need to delete this one. I don't need that one. I'm just going to simply delete it. So I have just those two. I think that's the right one. Okay, so, and I have a normal map. So I have those there, and I have the shaders for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect those textures to those shaders. So I'm going to just simply open the map of the shaders. And when I double click on it, a window will pop up. This is the Dino body shader, and this window is a window that allows us to work on several networks that we here. I'm using Alt on my left and right key mouse buttons and my Alt key. I use middle mouse button to move around, and again Alt and left and right button on my mouse to zoom out. So it takes a little while to get used to it, but eventually we will. And what we're gonna do here is you can call it from here if you want to call them from there, or you can call them from here, which is the same window. So I'm gonna go into Dino texture there, and I'm gonna grab all of those files there. Just select them all. I'm just grabbing dump it here. So they just get added there, and they came. This is relatively easy. This one we know is already the base color, but right now the Lambert was using a red, so I'm going to replace that one. And this red can just be pushed to the side. And then I'm going to, and of course those textures are up correctly. The V direction is correct. In case you need to correct them, you need to do that. This one is my displacement. And I'm going to use it as a initially I'm going to try to use it as my roughness, so that it helps me to just like making the texture the creature be shinier and darker. If you don't like it, you can go back and tweak it in Photoshop. And this one is my normal map. Connect the color to my normal map. I could use this one, which is the proper coloring is here, or I could use this other one that came from ZBrush, and you'll see the difference in a minute. I need to apply and save this window here, and I created that shader just there, just for a moment. So at least created a connection for it. Now I'm not seeing that applied on my creature, because my creature I haven't posted anywhere, so I don't have a way to see what's going on. So I'm gonna go and grab it. I'm gonna put it, grab a creature geometry and drop it on the world there, and you can see that it was added to the list on the side here. So let me see if I can change my layout here so I can show my that might be a little bit better to show the attributes that let's see if I can just get them to do. And I need to go here to the general attributes. I'm going to put the location 0, 0, 0. So that way it puts the creature on the right spot. I can click on it here, and I go to this window, to the viewport now, and I can press F, and my creature gets connected right there. So I can now look at it, and with my mouse I can just move in or move out, and it feels a bit glossy. If you don't like the glossiness, we would want to modify, go back to here, let me use go all this back. Normally this was like down here, so it's a bit easier for you to work with it. So you can go back to the shader and maybe modify the glossiness or the let's see if you can get in there. And you say, for example, this object might not be there. And you can go and create your own, or you can go and modify this one here by just simply clicking on it and deleting a connection. You can create here a constant variable. So let's say, for example, I can just press tab on my keyboard, type constant. It's a constant, and that one I connect to my roughness. So what it does is I can say, for example, if I say 1, enter, and then I just apply, the glossiness disappears. And this is just a variable for the whole thing. I can say 0.3 or 0.4, then you apply again, and you see some of the glossiness coming back. You need to save it so that you can keep it or not. Now my creature is not, I'm not using any displacement for it. So I will need to do some tweaks for that so that I can get that displacement applied to it. So now we are going to activate code to make it allow us to have the displacement that we created in ZBrush work here in Unreal, at least the best we can. So if I have this little code here that I'm going to just share with you, displacement code, and what this is I'm going to try to open it here, bring it over here. We need to add this little piece of text in a section of our project. So let me just try to do that. That way we can see. And where to add it is we need to go to where our project sits. And we are going to, before we do that, let's make sure we save our file here. Going to ask me for the what kind of level are we going to create, because we don't have, it's a blank project, we're going to save it. So I'm going to call it creature setup. Save that. That's my level. Okay, and while that's saving there, to go under my folder, my Unreal project, and just give it a few seconds for it to finish saving. Very slow my computer today. Okay, so I finished saving finally. So now we want to go to our project, the project that I just created to connect my textures to my file. And in called config, in the configuration folder, I want to, you can see here my instructions says put this code after the section under the default engine file configuration folder. So there is the default engine file, which is this one. I'll open it up right there. I'm gonna put it out here on this side so you can just look at it completely. And then it says under this section, script engine render settings, script, there is render settings. At the end of that section, before the next section begins, right here, before the next script section begins, I'm going to copy these 2 lines, paste them right there. What this is, this will activate the configuration of the program to use nanites allowing tessellation. I'm going to say save the file. So that just changes and of course the code I'm going to add it to our D2L folder so you can have it. And in order for us to see that, we need to close here, save, make sure we save. Already just saved, so it should be fine. I'll just make sure you save it one more time. And when I exit my program, I need to close and launch my project again. Just save selected right there. Hopefully it'll render fast there. Okay, just close my file. So I'm gonna go and launch it again. And of course, I'm gonna click on my project. I'm gonna open that one. Okay. So now that it's launched again, I can go and look under the shader one more time. Double click on it. And now you see that a displacement option was added at the bottom of the shader. So now we are going to use the displacement. And this one, although it says it's for whatever reason, it needs to use the RGB. So that way it applies it to it. And let me say apply. Let me try to go and look at the object. I don't think it's showing it just yet, but see if we can find my dinosaur there. I'm not sure if if the object is on the list or not. I don't think it got added or something. I don't see it in there. Do it. So I'm gonna bring it added again. I thought I had added it, but maybe it didn't get saved. So I'm gonna grab it and put it again back there. And drop it. There is my Dino post. And sure here under my details, my window doesn't show it, but yours hopefully your interface shows a little bit better. So here under my details, I'm gonna go under the general. I'm gonna translate it to put 000. That's a way for you to know that the creature is in the center of the world. Here under your viewport, and press F on your keyboard to frame it. And I don't think it's showing it yet, but let me just go on that shader one more time. Now this time, I click on the grid back there, so I can. There is a section there on nanites where displacement is active, and we are going to increase the value very large, or right now it's 4.0. We don't need that much, but I want to just be able to see it. Sorry here. Uh, Sometimes this interface is a bit funky to work with. There it is. It's not doing displacement just yet. I'm going to crank it to 10. See, and then apply it. I don't think it's doing it yet. So we are going to just close this one for a moment. And I'm going to the geometry. Start the mesh here. I can click on there or I can click on here. So I click here Let me see if we can launch it. Got it here. Double click on the asset down here. So it launches the asset right there. And the asset and all the attributes connected to that object. So um, I have everything there. I'm going to just type here nanite. Nanite, by the way, is a new technology. It only works with Unreal 5.3 and above. 5.2 won't do it. So Nanite is a new technology that is Unreal 5, which uses a new code to simplify geometry and be able to create an easier way of reading it. So I'm going to activate Nanite there. I'm going to just say save this. So hopefully that is going to make a bit different a difference. See, I'm just gonna close it here. Apply to level and say yes. I go back here on the shader and again. Hopefully it's gonna start showing up. And the rest, once you start seeing it, once I launch the shader, you can see the displacement starts showing. It's not great. I think the so I'm gonna bring it, and you can have the value brought down. It's kind of breaking it. You can see that it's gonna. So when I say, for example, maybe 2, and then apply. So that makes it a bit more visible without making it changing, especially let's say, for example, silhouette changing. You can change it back and forth, play with it some more to create the effect that you want. If it adds to it, my geometry is kind of breaking here. I may have to go back to Maya and correct some of that. But if it adds to the value of your muscles and the definition of your object, you might want to play with it. You can play with the center and those values to see how they work. Um, so obviously that didn't work for mine. It broke it badly. So I go back to, oh, it's just refreshing it actually. Uh, Not big difference. I'm gonna keep it back up at zero point 0.5. This. So the last thing, of course, you need to do the same thing for the eyes and the we have textures for it right now. Keep it like that for now. I can just kind of just change those colors just to keep them doing what they need to do. But before I do that, there's one last step that we need to do, and it is that this shader works correctly, but in the shader we need to convert it into an instance material so that can actually can be reused, or if I could use my character in the game. So I'm going to click on the shader. I'm going to right click on the instance. I'm going to call it body dino instance. So that is, it's kind of like a way for you to be able to reuse this on other or on the same guy. Now I'm going to go and double click on that object, and now I'm going to launch the window, and then of course that launches my guy here. You can see here this one shows a little bit better the displacement and everything. But now in that section, just move my window here a little bit. In that section where it says one of the materials, dino body, I'm going to use not that one but the actual instance. What I will do is going to make the creature work better when I apply it to the game, or when I bring it to the group game, everybody's assets will be having the same instance. Of course, I need to do the same for the other parts. I have not done that yet. All right, so I'm gonna stop it now, and hopefully you'll be able to see to do the process with yours a little bit better. Okay, so let me just try to stop the video here, trying to refresh my. There's a little bit of a refresh there that needs to be happening, but I think I got it there. I'll see you in the next video then.